Drummerly.com Unlimited Drama Series.
The rain hammered my pickup truck like bullets on tin, each drop exploding against the windshield as I sat in my own driveway, watching my wife through our kitchen window. Sierra was laughing, that fake, Instagram-worthy laugh she'd perfected over the past year as her fitness influencer career took off. But tonight, she wasn't performing for her phone camera. She was performing for him, Troy Daniels, 29 years old, trust fund baby, playing at being a personal trainer, all abs and no brains. He was sitting at my kitchen table, in my house, drinking my beer, while my wife of 12 years giggled like a teenager. I'm Jake Morrison, 38, and I fix things for a living. Air conditioners, heating systems, broken pipes, you name it, I can make it work again. But apparently, I couldn't fix my marriage. The wrench in my hand felt solid, real, unlike everything else in my life lately. I'd been out here for an hour, pretending to work on the truck's engine while watching the show inside. Sierra had told me she was having a business meeting with her new partner about expanding her online fitness brand. Right. Business meeting at 9 p.m. on a Friday night, with wine and dim lighting. My phone buzzed. A text from Sierra. Working late with Troy on the new workout program. Don't wait up. Love you. I looked back at the window. She was leaning across the table now, her hand on his arm, her wedding ring catching the light. The same ring I'd saved 3 months to buy, working double shifts in the summer heat of broken air conditioning units. That's when I saw her phone, abandoned on the counter, screen still glowing. Sierra never left her phone anywhere. It was practically surgically attached to her hand. But Troy was saying something that had her complete attention, and she'd forgotten about her digital lifeline. I made my decision. The back door was unlocked. Sierra always forgot to lock it, despite my constant reminders about safety. I slipped inside, grabbed her phone, and ducked back out before either of them noticed. My heart was pounding like I'd just run a marathon, but my hands were steady as I unlocked the screen. I knew her passcode, our anniversary date. The irony wasn't lost on me. The first thing I saw was their text thread, hundreds of messages going back 3 months. My stomach dropped as I scrolled through them. Can't wait to feel your hands on me again, from Sierra, sent yesterday. You drive me crazy. Your husband has no idea what he's got, from Troy, with a shirtless mirror selfie. He's working late again. Come over at 8, I'll make it worth your wait, from Sierra, sent this morning. But it was the most recent exchange that made my blood run cold. Troy, when are you going to leave him? I'm tired of sneaking around. Sierra, soon. I'm setting everything up. He'll never see it coming. Poor Jake. He's so trusting. I almost feel bad. Don't. You deserve better than some blue-collar loser who smells like motor oil. Sierra, I know. I've outgrown him. Once my follower count hits 100K, I won't need his steady paycheck anymore. Then I can upgrade to someone who actually fits my brand. I screenshot everything. Every message, every photo, every cruel laugh at my expense. 3 months of betrayal, documented in painful detail. Then I put the phone back exactly where I'd found it and walked back to my truck. The rain had stopped, but I was soaking wet anyway. Or maybe that was sweat. My hands were shaking now as I sat in the driver's seat, staring at the evidence on my own phone. 12 years of marriage, reduced to screenshots of my wife planning to destroy me. Through the window, I watched Troy stand up and pull Sierra into his arms. She melted against him like she used to melt against me, back when I was the man she loved instead of the obstacle she needed to remove. That's when the anger hit. Not the hot, explosive kind that makes you do stupid things. The cold, calculating kind that makes you dangerous. Sierra thought I was just some dumb mechanic who'd roll over and take whatever she dished out. She thought I'd never see it coming. She was wrong about that. Dead wrong. I started the truck and drove to my best friend Dez's gym. If I was going to become the villain in Sierra's story, I needed to learn how to play the part properly. Dez's boxing gym sat in the industrial district like a middle finger to gentrification. While the rest of downtown got fancy coffee shops and yoga studios, this corner of the city remained stubbornly blue-collar, rusted metal, cracked concrete, and the smell of honest sweat. It was exactly where I needed to be. Diaz looked up from the heavy bag he was working over, his scarred knuckles wrapped in tape that had seen better days. Jake? What the hell you doing here at 10 p.m.? You look like somebody died. Somebody did, I said, pulling out my phone. My marriage. I showed him the screenshots. Diaz read them in silence, his jaw getting tighter with each message. When he finished, he set the phone down and cracked his knuckles. You want me to break his legs? Because I'll break his legs. Hell, I'll break hers too. No, I picked up my phone and scrolled through the messages again. I want something better than that. I want to destroy them properly. Diaz raised an eyebrow. He'd done 5 years in state prison for aggravated assault before finding religion and opening this gym. He knew the difference between stupid revenge and smart revenge. What you got in mind? I pulled up Sierra's Instagram profile on my phone. 47,000 followers, all hanging on her every word about fitness, nutrition, and living your best life. Her bio read, "Married to my soulmate Jake, living authentically and inspiring others to do the same." She built her whole brand on being the perfect wife, I said. What happens when her followers find out she's been cheating on her soulmate for 3 months? DEZ grinned. Now you're talking my language. But you gotta be smart about this. Can't just blast her on social media like some bitter ex. That'll backfire. He was right. I needed to be strategic. Sierra had spent a year building her online presence, carefully crafting her image as the devoted wife who'd found the secret to happiness. Her followers loved the story of the fitness influencer and her hardworking husband. They ate up her posts about date nights with me and supporting your partner's dreams. I need to make her destroy herself, I said. Set up situations where she shows her true colors, then let her followers see who she really is. What about pretty boy Troy? I thought about that. Troy was different from Sierra. He didn't have a public image to protect, just his ego and his trust fund. But he had something else, a reputation as a serious trainer at the most expensive gym in town. Rich housewives paid him $200 an hour because they thought he was professional, dedicated, and trustworthy. I'll handle him separately. Different approach for different targets. Diaz handed me a pair of boxing gloves. Sounds like you got it figured out. But first, you need to hit something. You're wound tighter than a watch spring, and you're gonna need to think clear for this to work. He was right. I spent the next hour beating the hell out of the heavy bag, imagining Troy's smug face with every punch. By the time I was done, my knuckles were raw and my shoulders ached, but my head was clear. Feel better? Diaz asked. Much. I unwrapped my hands, already planning my next move. Tomorrow's Saturday. Sierra always does her live workout stream at 10 a.m. What if something went wrong with that stream? Something that showed her followers who she really is. What you thinking? I explained my idea. DEZ listened, nodding slowly, occasionally adding suggestions. By the time we were done, we had the bones of a plan that would turn Sierra's own success against her. You sure about this? DEZ asked as I headed for the door. Once you start down this road, there's no going back. You're gonna burn every bridge. I thought about Sierra in Troy's arms, laughing about what a loser I was. I thought about 12 years of marriage being dismissed as easily as deleting a text message. I thought about her planning to leave me once she didn't need my paycheck anymore. Good, I said. I liked the smell of burning bridges. The drive home took 20 minutes, but I spent it planning. Sierra thought she was so clever, sneaking around behind my back while playing the perfect wife online. She had no idea that her biggest weakness was also her greatest strength, her need for attention and validation. When I pulled into the driveway, Troy's BMW was gone, and the house was dark. Sierra was probably upstairs, editing photos from their business meeting to post on her Instagram story. She'd crop him out, of course. Maybe just show her laptop screen with some fitness app open. Caption it something about working hard on exciting new projects. I sat in the truck for a few minutes, looking at our house. We'd bought it 8 years ago, back when we were happy. Back when Sierra worked as a receptionist at a dental office and was content with our quiet life. The mortgage was in both our names, but I'd made every payment. The furniture, the appliances, the garden Sierra loved to photograph for her home and wellness posts. I'd paid for all of it. Tomorrow, I'd start taking it all back. Not the stuff. I didn't care about that. But the control, the narrative, the power she'd been stealing from me one Instagram post at a time. Sierra wanted to play games? Fine. But she was about to learn that I'd been fixing broken things a lot longer than she'd been breaking them. And I was very, very good at my job. Saturday morning arrived gray and drizzly. Perfect weather for what I had planned. Sierra was already up, setting up her phone and ring light in our living room for her weekly live workout stream. She'd moved all the furniture to create a clean backdrop, positioned her water bottle and towel just so, and changed into her most flattering workout outfit 3 times. "Morning, babe," she said without looking up from her phone, where she was checking the camera angle for the 100th time. "I'll be done with this in an hour, then we can grab brunch." "Sounds great," I replied, pouring myself coffee. "I'll just be in the garage, working on the truck." She nodded absently, already lost in her pre-stream ritual. Sierra took her Instagram live sessions seriously. They were her main source of engagement, and engagement meant sponsorship deals. She'd spent the past week hyping this particular stream, promising her followers a special announcement about exciting new projects. I knew what that announcement was going to be. She was planning to introduce Troy as her new business partner, carefully framed as a professional collaboration. The first step in preparing her followers for the eventual reveal that she was leaving her husband for a better opportunity. But Sierra's plan had one fatal flaw. It required her phone to work properly. At exactly 9:55 a.m., I activated the signal jammer I'd borrowed from my buddy who did security installations. It was a small device, about the size of a pack of cigarettes, that could disrupt cell phone signals within a 50-foot radius. Completely legal to own, though technically illegal to use. But there were no cell towers nearby to interfere with, just Sierra's phone. "Good morning, beautiful souls. It's your girl Sierra, coming to you live from my home studio. Are you ready to sweat?" Her phone showed 43 viewers and climbing. Sierra beamed at the camera, feeding off the attention like always. The comments were already flowing. "You look amazing! Love your outfit! Can't wait for the announcement!" "Before we start today's workout," Sierra continued, "I want to tell you about something incredible that's happening in my life. I've been working with an amazing new partner on..." That's when her phone froze. Sierra kept talking for a few seconds before she realized the stream had stopped. She tapped the screen, tried to restart the app, but nothing happened. No signal meant no stream. "Technical difficulties," she muttered, then raised her voice. "Jake, can you come here for a second?" I appeared in the doorway, coffee mug in hand, the picture of innocent confusion. "What's wrong?" "My phone's not working. The stream just died, and I can't get it back up." "This is a disaster. I had over 200 viewers." I walked over and examined her phone, making a show of checking the obvious things. "Looks like you're not getting any signal. That's weird. Let me check mine." My phone, which I'd switched to airplane mode, showed the same problem. "Yeah, mine's dead too. Must be a tower issue. These things happen." Sierra looked like she might cry. "But I promised my followers a special announcement, and I've been promoting this stream all week. My engagement is going to tank if I don't deliver." "Can't you just post a video later? Explain what happened." "It's not the same. Live streams get way more engagement than regular posts, and the algorithm punishes you if you don't follow through on promoted content." She was pacing now, her carefully planned morning falling apart. "This is going to hurt my numbers." I shrugged sympathetically. "Sorry, babe. Not much we can do about cell tower problems." She spent the next hour frantically trying to salvage the situation, posting apology stories and rescheduling the announcement for later. But the damage was done. Her followers were confused and disappointed, and several sponsors who'd been watching the live stream to evaluate her reliability were now having second thoughts. While Sierra dealt with her social media crisis, I drove to the gym where Troy worked. Elite fitness was everything Dez's place wasn't. Gleaming equipment, motivational posters, and a clientele that paid premium prices to sweat in style. Troy's BMW was parked in the trainer section of the lot, right next to a Tesla and a Mercedes. I didn't go inside. Instead, I waited until Troy emerged for his lunch break, then followed him to the sandwich shop down the street. He was alone, scrolling through his phone while he ate, probably texting Sierra about their next secret meetup. That's when I made my move. I walked up to his table, sat down across from him, and smiled. "Troy Daniels, right? I'm Jake Morrison, Sierra's husband." The color drained from his face. He looked like he was about to run, but I held up a hand. "Relax. I'm not here to cause a scene. I just want to talk. I don't know what you think you know, but I know everything." I pulled out my phone and showed him one of his text messages to Sierra. 3 months worth of everything. But like I said, I'm not here to fight. Troy's jaw worked silently. He was probably trying to figure out if he could take me in a fight. He was younger, stronger, and in better shape. But he was also panicking, and panic makes you stupid. What do you want? He finally asked. I want you to break up with my wife. He blinked. What? You heard me. I want you to end it. Tell her you can't see her anymore, that you've realized it's wrong. Whatever, just end it. Why would I do that? I leaned forward, keeping my voice friendly and conversational. Because if you don't, I'm going to send these screenshots to everyone you know. Your boss, your clients, your parents, your friends. Everyone will know that Troy Daniels, professional trainer and fitness expert, is actually a homewrecker who seduces married women by telling them their husbands are losers.
He just gave me a massage, that's it!
A massage? With I Miss Your Body after?
Watch more on Grammarly.com.
Troy's hands clenched into fists. You can't do that. It's blackmail. No, it's consequences. You made choices, Troy. You chose to sleep with my wife. You chose to mock me in text messages. You chose to try to break up my marriage. Now I'm choosing how to respond. I stood up, leaving him sitting there with his half-eaten sandwich and his racing thoughts. You've got 24 hours, I said. After that, I start sharing your love letters with the world. As I walked away, I could feel his eyes burning into my back. But I wasn't worried about Troy anymore. He was young and stupid and scared. He'd fold. Sierra, on the other hand, was going to be a much bigger challenge. But that was okay. I was just getting started. Sunday evening, Sierra's phone rang. I was in the kitchen, pretending to read the newspaper, while she paced around the living room, talking in hushed, increasingly frantic tones. What do you mean it's over? She hissed into the phone. Troy, we talked about this. We have plans. I couldn't hear his side of the conversation, but I could guess what he was saying. Troy had folded faster than I'd expected. Apparently, the thought of his wealthy parents finding out about his affair was more terrifying than losing Sierra. This is about him, isn't it? Sierra's voice rose. Did Jake threaten you? Because if he did, she went quiet, listening. Then, you're a coward, Troy, a pathetic coward. The call ended with her throwing her phone onto the couch. She stood there for a moment, breathing hard, then noticed me watching. Everything okay? I asked, not looking up from the sports section. Fine. Everything's fine. But her voice cracked on the word fine, and I could see tears forming in her eyes. Over the next few days, Sierra threw herself into her social media with desperate energy. Without Troy as her business partner, she had to pivot her content strategy, which meant longer hours creating posts, responding to comments, and chasing sponsorship deals. She was stressed, distracted, and making mistakes. The first major mistake came on Wednesday. Sierra posted a sponsored content piece for a nutrition supplement company, but in her frazzled state, she forgot to include the required FTC disclosure about it being a paid advertisement. Within hours, several of her followers had reported the violation, and the supplement company dropped her to avoid regulatory issues. The second mistake was worse. On Friday, she posted a candid photo of herself crying, with a caption about going through a difficult time and learning to trust the process. It was classic influencer vulnerability porn, designed to generate sympathy and engagement. But she made the post at 2 p.m. on a workday, when her core audience of working women couldn't respond immediately. By the time her followers saw it that evening, Sierra had already posted 3 more times: a sponsored workout video, a photo of her elaborate dinner, and a selfie from what looked like an expensive wine bar. The emotional whiplash was jarring, and the comments reflected it. Wait, weren't you crying this morning? This seems fake. How are you going through a difficult time at a wine bar that costs $30 per glass? Unfollow. This is so performative and gross. Sierra's follower count, which had been steadily climbing toward her goal of 100,000, suddenly plateaued and then began to drop. She was hemorrhaging credibility, and she knew it. I don't understand what's happening, she said to me over dinner on Saturday night. My engagement is down 30% this week. I'm losing followers every day. It's like everything I touch turns to shit. Maybe you're trying too hard, I suggested. Your best content has always been the authentic stuff, the real moments. She looked at me with something like hope. You really think so? Absolutely. Your followers fell in love with the real Sierra, not some polished influencer persona. Maybe it's time to get back to that. It was good advice, and it was also a trap. Because the real Sierra, the one who cheated on her husband and mocked him behind his back, wasn't someone her followers would love at all. That night, while Sierra slept, I made my final preparations. I'd been patient, methodical, setting up the dominoes over the past 2 weeks. Now it was time to watch them fall. I started with Sierra's email. She'd given me the password years ago and never changed it, another sign of how little she'd thought of me. I scrolled through her recent messages until I found what I was looking for: her correspondence with various sponsors and potential business partners. Then I began composing emails. The first went to Fit Life magazine, which had been considering featuring Sierra in an upcoming article about authentic fitness influencers. I wrote as Sierra, explaining that she'd been living a lie and felt she needed to come clean about her fake marriage and manufactured content. I included several of the screenshots from her text conversations with Troy, carefully edited to remove his name but keep her cruel comments about me and her followers. The second email went to her biggest remaining sponsor, a workout clothing company that was paying her $2,000 a month for regular posts. Again, writing as Sierra, I confessed to inflating her engagement numbers and using fake accounts to boost her metrics. I attached screenshots of her analytics showing the recent drop in authentic engagement. The third email was the masterpiece. It went to her friend Jenna, who ran a popular local lifestyle blog and had been planning to collaborate with Sierra on a series about marriage and wellness. Writing as Sierra, I detailed her affair with Troy, her plans to leave me, and her contempt for the followers who supported her. I made sure to mention Jenna by name, describing her as naive and easy to manipulate for cross-promotion. But here's the thing about Jenna. She wasn't naive at all. She was ambitious, competitive, and had been quietly jealous of Sierra's growing success for months. When she received that email, she didn't confront Sierra privately. Instead, she screenshot the entire message and posted it to her own Instagram story with the caption, "This is what some influencers really think of their followers and friends. So disappointed." Jenna had 30,000 followers, many of whom also followed Sierra. Within hours, the screenshots had been shared across multiple platforms. Sierra's mentions exploded with angry comments, and her follower count went into freefall. I was at Dez's gym when it all hit the fan, working out my nervous energy on the heavy bag while Sierra's world collapsed in real time. My phone buzzed constantly with notifications. Sierra was calling, texting, probably panicking as she watched her carefully built empire crumble. "You feel bad about it?" Dez asked, holding the bag steady while I threw combinations. "No," I said, and I meant it. She made her choices. I'm just making sure there are consequences. My phone rang again. This time I answered. "Jake." Sierra's voice was raw with tears. "Someone hacked my email. They sent horrible messages to everyone. My sponsors, my friends, journalists. They're saying I wrote things I never wrote." "That's terrible," I said. "Have you called the police?" "They said there's nothing they can do unless I can prove someone else sent the emails. But they came from my account, with my password." "Jake, I'm ruined. Everything I worked for is gone." She was sobbing now, and for a moment I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "Come home," I said. "We'll figure this out together." But I already knew there was nothing to figure out. Sierra had built her success on a lie, and now the truth was burning it all down. The only question left was whether she'd learned anything from the experience. I was about to find out. Sierra was waiting for me when I got home, sitting at the kitchen table with her laptop open and tissues scattered around her like fallen leaves. Her eyes were red and puffy, her usually perfect hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. She looked smaller somehow, diminished. "Jake, thank God you're here." She stood up and tried to hug me, but I stepped back. "Show me what happened," I said. She pulled up her email account, her hands shaking as she clicked through the sent folder. "Look at this. Someone sent these messages pretending to be me. They knew personal things, private things. They had screenshots of conversations I had. I read over the emails with apparent concern, making appropriate shocked noises. This is really bad, Sierra. Who would do something like this? I don't know. Maybe it was Troy. He was angry when we broke up. Or maybe someone hacked my phone. Jake, my whole career is over. Fit Life magazine pulled their feature. Activewear dropped me. Jenna won't even answer my calls. She collapsed back into her chair, fresh tears streaming down her face. I've lost everything. 12,000 followers since yesterday. All my sponsors are gone. I'm getting death threats from people who think I'm some kind of sociopath. I sat down across from her, the same spot where Troy had sat 2 weeks ago. Sierra, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. She looked up, hope flickering in her eyes. Anything. Were you having an affair with Troy? The question hit her like a physical blow. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. Jake, because some of those screenshots in the emails looked real. The metadata, the formatting, the way you write. If someone was making this up, they did a really good job. Sierra's face went through a series of expressions: denial, calculation, fear, and finally, resignation. How long have you known? 3 weeks. I saw the texts on your phone. She stared at me in shock. 3 weeks? And you didn't say anything? What was I supposed to say? Hey honey, I know you're cheating on me and planning to leave me as soon as you don't need my paycheck anymore. I figured I'd wait and see what you decided to do. Jake, I'm so sorry. It was a mistake, a stupid mistake. I was caught up in the excitement of my career taking off, and Troy made me feel like I was special, like I deserved more than a blue-collar loser who smells like motor oil. She winced. You saw that text. I saw all of them, Sierra. Every cruel joke, every plan to use me until you could upgrade to someone who fit your brand better. We sat in silence for a moment. Outside, a neighbor was mowing their lawn, the sound of normal suburban life continuing, while our marriage died in the kitchen. Did you do this? Sierra asked quietly. The emails, the hacking, all of it? I looked at my wife, my soon-to-be ex-wife, and saw her clearly for the first time in months. The desperation, the selfishness, the complete inability to take responsibility for her actions. Even now, caught red-handed, she was looking for someone else to blame. Does it matter? I asked. Of course it matters. If you destroyed my career for revenge, you destroyed your own career, Sierra. You built it on lies, and lies don't last. I just helped the truth come out a little faster. She stared at me like she was seeing a stranger. I don't know who you are anymore. I'm the same person I've always been. I'm just done pretending that's not enough. I stood up and walked to the counter, where I'd left a manila folder that morning. I've already talked to a lawyer. Divorce papers will be ready next week. I'm keeping the house. It's in my name, and I've made every payment. You can have your car and whatever personal stuff you want. Sierra's voice was barely a whisper. Jake, please, we can work this out. I'll delete all my social media accounts. I'll get a regular job. We can go to counseling. Why would I want to work it out? So you can cheat on me again when the next upgrade comes along. I made a mistake. No, Sierra. A mistake is forgetting to pick up milk on the way home. What you did was a choice. Hundreds of choices. Over 3 months. You chose to betray me, mock me, and plan to abandon me. The only thing you're sorry about is getting caught. She was crying again, but they were angry tears now. So what? You're just going to throw away 12 years of marriage? You're going to destroy my life over one stupid affair? I'm not destroying anything. I'm just done fixing things that don't want to be fixed. I headed for the door, then turned back. Oh, and Sierra, you might want to check your Instagram. Jenna posted some more screenshots about an hour ago. Something about fake follower counts and manufactured engagement. Apparently, she's been doing her own investigation into influencer fraud. Sierra's face went white. She grabbed her phone and started scrolling frantically. No, but I was already walking away. I had a bag packed in the truck and a room reserved at a hotel downtown. Tomorrow, I'd start looking for a new apartment, something small and clean and honest, maybe near Dez's gym. As I drove away from the house, I felt something I hadn't experienced in months: peace. The anger was gone, burned away by the satisfaction of a job well done. Sierra would land on her feet eventually. People like her always did. But she'd never again take for granted the man who loved her, because there wouldn't be one. I'd made sure of that. The radio was playing an old Johnny Cash song, and I turned it up loud. Behind me, the house where I'd been happy and then miserable grew smaller in the rearview mirror. Ahead of me, the road stretched out clean and empty, full of possibilities. For the first time in years, I was exactly where I wanted to be. 3 months later, I was working under the hood of a stubborn air conditioning unit when Dez walked over with his phone. You gotta see this, he said, grinning. It was a news article about influencer fraud. Sierra's photo was prominently featured alongside several other fake lifestyle gurus who'd been exposed for buying followers and deceiving sponsors. She'd apparently tried to make a comeback by positioning herself as a reformed influencer, speaking out against the toxic culture she'd once embraced. But nobody was buying it. Says here she's working at a call center now, Diaz said. Customer service for a credit card company. I wiped my hands on a rag and looked at the photo. Sierra looked older, tired, her Instagram glow replaced by fluorescent office lighting. She was probably making about 1/10 of what she'd earned at her peak, answering angry phone calls from people disputing charges. Good for her, I said, and meant it. Honest work builds character. You ever regret it? What you did? I thought about that as I went back to work on the AC unit. The compressor was shot, the coolant lines were corroded, and the whole system needed to be rebuilt from scratch. It was going to take hours of careful, methodical work. But when I was done, it would run perfectly for years. No, I said, selecting the right wrench for the job. Some things are worth fixing, some things aren't. The trick is knowing the difference. The AC unit hummed to life an hour later, cold air flowing steadily through the vents. Another broken thing made whole. Another satisfied customer. Another job well done. I packed up my tools and headed home to my small, clean apartment. No drama, no lies, no social media influencers planning to upgrade their lives. Just peace, quiet, and the satisfaction of work honestly done. It was exactly the life I'd always wanted. I just had to burn down the old one to build it.